Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the sonnets, and today we have Sonnet 103, which continues from the previous ones before it, where Shakespeare has been frustrated that he's unable to write and then apologizing for the fact that he's unable to write. And then in Sonnet 103 he says, "Alack, what poverty my muse brings forth, that having such a scope to show her pride, the argument all bare is of more worth than when it had my added praise beside. Oh, blame not me if I no more can write. Look in your glass, and there appears a face that o'ergoes my blunt invention quite, dulling my lines and doing me disgrace. Were it not sinful, then, striving to mend, to mar the subject that before was well? For to no other pass my verses tend than of your graces and your gifts to tell, and more, much more, than in my verse can sit, your own glass shows you when you look in it." So this is another one about Shakespeare's inability to write, which I love it that he's writing about his inability to write. There's some humor in that, but he's again saying that his muse is not inspiring him, so he can't write anything. But even if he could, the subject that he wants to write about is so much better in real life than he could ever capture in his poetry. So he's like, if I'm sitting here writing about your beauty, but you go look in your mirror and find yourself even more beautiful than my words are making you out to be, then isn't that actually sinful? Like, I'm harming you and I'm harming my own poetry because none of it is doing you justice. I'm not capturing you correctly, so you're coming across less beautiful in my poetry, which is therefore making my poetry less beautiful and less valid than it should have been if I had just said nothing at all. So maybe it's better if I just sit here silently and stop writing about you when you can just look in the mirror and see how awesome you are. It's kind of what Sonnet 103 is about. So continuing on this pattern, I'm curious to see, as we've worked through several of these moments of frustration or displeasure or betrayal, things like that, we get to see the arc of emotions going through that. And I'm wondering, this went from anger and frustration to yesterday a bit of a calm, to today a little, maybe almost a little bit of defensiveness or a little bit of justification for why he's not writing anymore. I'm curious to see where it's going to go next. And you can find out too if you come on back tomorrow for Sonnet 104. See you then. Mwah.